The ocean is the largest graveyard on Earth. Today, we consider the blue whale the absolute pinnacle of biological size, its grace, its dominance. But if we look back, deep into the crushing abyss of time, the prehistoric oceans hid nightmares that make modern predators look like simple bait. Why did the ancient world create monsters so massive they defy the very laws of logic? We are talking about creatures that dwarf our modern imagination. From 18-meter sharks with teeth the size of human hand to sea scorpions larger than a full-grown man patrolling the silent, shallow reefs of a world we wouldn't recognize. This isn't just a story about the passage of time. It's a story of brutal survival, of toxic chemistry, and a world where the rules of life were written in blood and oxygen. Imagine an era where the water itself was a different beast, a time when the chemical makeup of the sea acted as a superfuel for growth, pushing biology to its absolute breaking point. Welcome to the hidden world of the deep sea monsters. In the Mesozoic era, the rule was terrifyingly simple: grow or be eaten. There was no middle ground. There was no safety. Only the hunt and the massive shadows lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In the Mesozoic era, the rule of the deep was brutal and absolute. Grow or be eaten. The prehistoric seas were not just waters, they were a battlefield for the Mosasaurus and the Pliosaurus. These were the real-life sea dragons, massive air-breathing reptiles that reached lengths of 17 meters. They weren't just big fish, they were the absolute apex of evolution. Their bite forces could crush bone and thick shells like they were made of glass. But the terror didn't stop at sheer size. Imagine a creature that defied every rule of biology, the helicoprion, a 270-million-year-old predator with a buzzsaw of teeth spiraling from its jaw. For decades, its anatomy baffled the greatest minds in science, looking more like a nightmare myth than a real animal. It was a biological saw blade designed to slice through the soft bodies of ancient squid with terrifying precision. And then there is the king of all nightmares, the Megalodon. While internet legends claim this 18-meter titan still lurks in the unexplored trenches, the scientific reality is even haunting. It ruled the global oceans as the ultimate predator, a specialist in hunting massive whales. It was the largest shark to ever exist, until a changing climate and shifting food chains forced it into the shadows of extinction 3.6 million years ago. But its legacy still haunts our deepest fears. How did nature allow for such terrifying scale? The secret lies hidden in the very chemistry of a younger, more violent Earth. During the Paleozoic era, oxygen levels in the atmosphere and the water were significantly higher than they are today. It was a world on high-octane fuel. Imagine the eurypterids, the sea scorpions. In today's world, an insect or arthropod is limited by how it breathes,
But back then, the water was saturated with life-giving gas. This allowed these armored monsters to grow to a staggering 2.5 meters long. They were the undisputed kings of the Silurian shallows, creatures with jagged pincers and heavy armor, patrolling a world where humans would have suffocated from oxygen toxicity. New research suggests their giantism wasn't just an advantage, it was a biological necessity, an escape. In an oxygen-rich world, small larvae were at risk of hyperoxia, essentially being poisoned by too much life. To survive, they had to grow larger, expanding their bodies to dilute the very air they breathed. They were forced into greatness by the environment itself. But being a giant comes with a heavy, lethal price. The bigger they were, the harder they fell. As the eras shifted, the planet began to turn against its own creations. At the end of the Permian period, the Great Dying began. Massive volcanic activity in what is now Siberia ignited coal beds, pumping trillions of tons of carbon into the sky. The very fuel that created the giants vanished. This gas poisoned the water, creating an underwater apocalypse that wiped out 90% of all species. The masters of the sea became victims of their own scale. They couldn't hide. They couldn't adapt fast enough. For the giants of the deep, there was no sanctuary, only a slow, suffocating end in an ocean that had turned into a literal poison soup.
Today, these monsters live on in our folklore and in the darkest corners of our collective dreams. We look at the surface of a lake or the vast horizon of the sea, and we wonder, could the Loch Ness Monster truly be a surviving plesiosaur? Or is it just a legend, a phantom fueled by our primal fear of the unknown? While science refutes the survival of these ancient giants, the evidence they left behind is undeniable. The fossils they left in the earth fueled our greatest myths, from the griffins of the desert to the dragons of the deep. These monsters are officially gone, locked in cold, silent stone, waiting for us to uncover their secrets. But we must remember, the ocean is deep. With 80% of the underwater world still unexplored, we have to ask ourselves, is the era of monsters truly over? Or are we just looking in the wrong places? Every year, deep-sea expeditions find new life in the Hadal Zone, creatures that defy every rule of biology, surviving under crushing pressures that would flatten a submarine. The prehistoric oceans created giants because the world was a different, more volatile place. They were the undisputed masters of a lost world, but the shadows they cast are still here, in the water and in our minds.